Good day, everyone. Hello, wherever you are. Good morning, good afternoon, good day. Welcome to this session with the title, How Can We Ensure That Sludge Reach the Treatment Plant? My name is Andreas Schmidt. I'm working for Urban Waters. It's a consultancy firm, and I'm very proud to introduce my colleague Tim Fittbach from the Hafen University of Hamburg. Urban Waters and Hafen University are hosting this session, and we are very proud and happy of it. And I would like to introduce our old friend and colleague Stefan Reuter, who's our moderator through the panel discussion and as well helping out in translating French. Stefan, please.
Bonjour à tout le monde, bonjour et merci pour nous joindre sur cette séance qui est offerte par l'Université Hafen City Hambourg et à partir de l'organisation Urban Waters. Et soyez les bienvenus, il y a donc Andreas Schmidt qui représente Urban Waters et Tim Fittbach, l'Université Hafen City Hambourg. Merci. Back to you, Andreas.
Yeah,
Tim?
Hello, and also welcome from my side, Tim Fittbach, Hafen City University. I'm very happy to see that so many people participate. Welcome all of you, and I want to welcome especially our guests. So from PASA, Pan-African Association of Sanitation Actors, welcome Sandrine, Peter, Mamadou, welcome Charles Mccoy from Dawasa, and also welcome Sneed from Border South Asia. Thanks that you are here and welcome.
Thank you very much. So objective of this session is, we know FSM, fecal sludge management, is an overall option to on-site sanitation. So once the pit is full, it needs to be emptied, and we want to have it safely transported and safely disposed and treated, and ideally reduced. But the core component in FSM is still the collection and the transportation of fecal sludge, moving it from source, from the containment to the place where a safe treatment or disposal is possible. So as practitioners, as consultants, as a researcher, we all keeps us the question busy. How can we ensure that the sludge actually reaching the treatment plant? And how can we establish an affordable service for everyone? And this is a bit the objective of this session that we would like, and we are so happy and proud that we could have practitioners from PASA on board and pit emptiers, and tapping in their experience and their knowledge and working out jointly with you potential solutions towards these two key main questions. Handing over to Tim.
Yes, thank you, Andreas. Just as most of you know, some general rules. I hear it's already very silent, so most of you or all of you are muted. Thanks for that. So it's not that we don't want to hear your opinion, but please use the chat box, and we have people looking at the chat all the time. If you have anything, any comments, any questions, please post them in the chat. Later on, we'll have a breakout session where we have smaller groups, where you're very much welcome also to turn on your videos so that we can see each other and that we can share. And during those breakout groups, also use the hand symbol, which you can find if you want to contribute anything. And please also, because we know we have people from French-speaking countries, we will have one breakout room which will be totally in French. So please type in the breakout room the word French or Français, so that we can allocate you to the right breakout rooms.
Voilà, donc une petite annonce que je vais traduire directement. Pour tous les francophones, s'il vous plaît, utilisez le chat et vous allez écrire là-dedans French ou bien français, comme ça on pourra savoir comment vous ajuster dans la salle de travail qui sera francophone. Merci.
Merci. Yeah, as Andreas already gave some overview, we'll have introduction, some input presentations from our side, especially also from the practitioners who are doing the operation of collection services. And we will have then the breakout rooms, 15 minutes, and then we will go to a panel discussion where basically the questions and the suggestions which you developed during this breakout rooms will be raised to the panelists and discussed there for another 30 minutes. So thanks, and we will go directly to a small exercise, as we want to be to have interaction, and we would like to hear your opinion on what you actually think are the key components of enabling the private sector. So I will now share a link with you in the chat, and I hope that you can see it. It's not yet there, but it's coming now.
Voilà un petit exercice. On va vous inviter maintenant à joindre le lien et pour mettre vos pensées, vos réflexions sur la question. Mentimeter. Back to you, Tim.
Thank you. So if you follow that link, you will find the possibility to add some of your thoughts to the question, what are the key components that enable the private sector to provide safe and affordable emptying and transportation services to all? So what are the thoughts which come into your mind when you think of how to enable the private sector? Feel free just to type anything. This is, of course, anonymous. We will not follow up on that later. So if you can see this, we see profitability came up very fast. Regulation is there. We see some financing. Please also feel free to write in French if you're not comfortable with English. We can also translate a bit. Cost recovery, business cases. We see incentivizing. Regulation is very much in the middle. Remember, we are trying to enable the private sector. So what does the private sector need to go also into the areas where currently business is difficult, is challenging? So we see capacity building. Money is coming, also strong. You can write as many words as you like. We have 50, 55, thanks. This is really demand creation for sure is one key aspect. Okay, so maybe last things, and Stefan, maybe you can translate a bit.
Voilà, j'étais en train de lire moi-même, donc vous voyez un peu les affiches et les priorités qui nous ont été offertes par tous les participants ici dans notre groupe. Tim, I don't see the shared screen right now. Will this be based on my viewing? I only... Aha.
Sorry for that.
OK,
no,
donc voilà, régulation, training, demand, la demande, la formation de capacité. Donc voilà un peu les éléments qui nous unissent tous dans cette séance. Merci pour votre contribution. Thank you, and back to you, Tim.
OK, thank you. So we will go over to Andreas.
Thank you very much, Tim, for this exercise. Very interesting results already. Tim, can you go to the PPT?
Yes.
Please all allow me to simplify a bit once again. What means actually FSM? What means collection and transportation? What is the logistics behind? And this is something worth to always to look at it. And next, please. Once again, we all know these nice pictures, the full sanitation value chain. And but here, especially with our participants, we would like to concentrate on this core component of FSM, removing sludge from containment system, from the source to a place for a safe treatment. Next, please. Okay, so, and if we have a city and the city doesn't have no sewer service, or a certain community doesn't have no sewer service, each of the box, it's a house which it's holding with a tank holding fecal sludge. Each of the house having an on-site sanitation system. So it's a lot potentially. If you want to serve them, what the private sector or even the public server does, and it's on demand based, then they have always the question, who and where is the next client calling for the FSM service? Next, please. And once we have called, the service providers called to provide the service emptying the pit, then we have areas like up on the top, which let's say easy road access, well-constructed latrines. Easy access means easy service, and I have seen it even below 10 minutes, but an average is 10 to 30 minutes servicing time, including small talk, including in invoicing and billing cash flow. And you have other areas, and mainly it's the urban poor, or let's say the unplanned area, where we have hardly roads which are wider than 3 meters, where houses are more than 50 meters far away from somehow any road or access. We can't go with trucks in it. We need different vehicles. So limit access, it's not an easy service, and it can take up to 3 hours chiseling open, emptying, transporting just to the vehicle itself. So limit access, no easy. Then we have the service provider have to move. So they have to move. On the right-hand side, you see a map and you see numbers like D, 3, 1. It's assembly points. Usually the service provider, the trucks, waiting at certain places in a town. Once they get a call, they have to move to a client, have to find the client, going to the client, doing the service, and then they have to go up, let's say in this case, far to the north, to the treatment plant, have to find traffic, and have to go back to assembly point. Next, please. So to simplify, FSM logistic means we have, as you see in the illustration on the right, we have different type of vehicles. We have bigger trucks, we have smaller, and we have all, let's say, type of 3-wheelers, and even sometimes down to push cars. We have the community. The community have different patterns, different size of the pit, different accessibility, and we might need to choose different type of vehicles to serve different type of community in different area. And then they have to go to the treatment plant, and there could be one treatment plant. There can be more than one treatment plant, and also have to decide to which treatment plant they can go. What is the capacity, or what is the distance to drive? So just, no, too early, once back, please. To simplify, we give some numbers. It's really simplified numbers. We can provide much more on this one, elaborating current and forecasted. But here, just to give an idea, and some of our work we found in cities, let's say, with a community 100,000 population. If you want to provide a full collection service, then it could mean up to 250 tons of fecal sludge every day needs to be collected and moved. That will lead to 12 to 15 vehicles, trucks of different sizes. And it can happen that they have to drive each truck up to 100 kilometers a day. That means in this case, they can serve a client, or only 2 to 3 clients per day they can serve. And if you're adding up in terms of climate discussion, it will require 700 to 100 ton diesel every year to move logistically the sludge from source to the treatment plant. Okay, we as our team, we tried mathematical methodologies, combining with GIS, combining with field studies and focal group discussion, where we can analyze current and projected numbers and costs and times and distances, which in the end can help you to estimate real transportation cost for certain areas, for certain communities, help you to set tariffs, also discussing to go for scheduled or demand operation. And also we can give you recommendation on the location of the treatment plants. And we know it's not always easy to select and finding land for a treatment plant, but at least then you have to know it might have an impact on the operation cost for the private sectors or for the truck operator to move there. Next, please. So, and if you are planning your city's FSM, our team is happy to support. You can anytime you contact you. And with this slide, I would like to say thank you for listening to us. Thank you very much. I'm handing over to Tim.
Yeah, thanks, Andreas. So basically, you already mentioned all the key challenges and key also solutions which we see in the sector. And I wanted to present this one. Most of you will know it already, but just to refresh the mind a bit, financial flow diagram. So this is, of course, an example and not a template for every city. We have the private enterprise in the middle doing the emptying and transportation, and who should ensure in the end that the sludge reaches the treatment site. And the question is, how do we guarantee enough financial capacities at each stage in this financial flow diagram? And actually, if you look in the top, you will see, of course, our well-known service chain. So the question is, which of these components are actually relevant and feasible in your context? How do you guarantee stable financial flow, first of all, to the public utility, of course, also for providing treatment, or then also to the emptiers, so the private sector, how can they recover their costs? Is it over emptying and transportation fee, or is there any other incentive needed? So for example, a discharge incentive. What are key barriers and what are key drivers to enable this, or basically which disable this? And what are opportunities and risks related to each of this? So bringing this back a little bit, yeah, very simple. Our main goal is to maximize the coverage of safe and affordable emptying and transportation services. So we want to get as much sludge collected and brought to the treatment site as possible. And seeing the private sector doing this service, we of course want to enable them, and we want to give them the possibility to get sustainable profit. To do so, we have to increase the revenue for them and reduce the expenditures, and that especially in the areas which are difficult to access and where costs are high and willingness and ability to pay is low. So how do we do this? If basically the revenue is smaller than the expenditures, we will have to think of some kind of targeted subsidies that reduce the expenditures or increase the revenue. On the other side, there are areas where the profit is fairly large, and where you might even come up with tariffs, fees, or taxes, which will in the end guarantee a financial flow, which can also recover parts of the subsidies. There are several approaches and instruments available which are being discussed, and Andreas already mentioned several of them. So we can think of, for example, a levy on the water bills or a property tax, which guarantees a continuous revenue and also reduces the burden on the households to pay this large amount of for on-demand emptying. We need demand creation, we need awareness creation, marketing, we need law enforcement, but we also want to make the system more efficient by call centers, scheduled emptying, economy of scale, and in the end we also need data. And as mentioned, we need to reduce time and distance, for example, by decentralization, and improve the access and the affordability of financing, especially for small enterprises. So all this is still quite theoretic, and within this workshop, we want to give the opportunity to the private sector actually, and we want to listen to them because we think that they are the ones who are providing the service, and we have to enable them, and that should start by listening to them. So with this, I'm happy to hand over to Snehit from Border South Asia to present his experience from enabling the private sector in India.
Yes, I hope I'm audible now. Hello, everyone.
Yes, perfect.
Thank you. So I'll move ahead. So I'm Snehit. I represent Border South Asia here, and for the past 3 or 4 years, I've been helping a partner organization called Blue Water Company set up FSM operations in various parts of the country. So I'm just here to share my experiences, and hopefully it can start a discussion regarding FSM. So just moving ahead, I've highlighted some of the major operations that we've taken up in the last 3 to 4 years. So all of these operations were directly with urban local bodies, and they had different contractual and operational models. So I've listed the major ones. The first one was in Leh, which is in North India, mountainous region. It was a PPP with the urban local body, a contract amounting to approximately $50,000 US dollars per annum. It was a contract in which we had to operate the trucks and the fecal sludge treatment plant. Sure, I'll try. Is it better now, or should I talk higher or talk louder? Tim, is my voice clear? Not clear?
Very good. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Thank you. So I'll go ahead. So Leh was one model wherein the revenue generated was based on the amount of volume that we treated. A slightly different contractual agreement was there in Dhenkanal, Odisha, which is a state in eastern India. It was a fixed fee contract, not based on volumes, not based on tariffs, and was again an integrated contract based on truck operations and FSTPs. The last contract that I want to talk about is a contract which we had in South India, Telangana. It was again a contract with the ULB, approximately $15,000 per annum. It was to operate just the FSTP, and it also included some elements of revenue generation from selling the byproducts. Besides these, we have various different kinds of contractual and operational models. So some involve only operation of trucks, some involve some operation of truck and some operation of the plant. So multiple models have been experimented with in our country. So just move ahead. Can you move to the next slide? Overall, we've managed 6 FSTPs, around 5,000 trips. Sorry, the ULB stands for the urban local body, or the municipality in this case. Just addressing your question. So around 30 million liters of fecal sludge treated trucks operated, and we've reached out to around 2,200 unique customers. In the next few minutes, I'd like to talk about what internally for us was the biggest factor which really led to determining how we service our customers, what was the profile of the customers we treated, and what was the return we generated on investment. Can you move to the next slide? And was really the discussion is about how an individual contract is structured with the ULB or the municipality. I would have liked to talk about regulation or financing mechanisms, but having really played as a small time service operator, I think that these things are really beyond something which I can influence, but individual contracting structures with either one single municipality or a group of municipalities is something that maybe we as players or private sector can influence. And that's what I'd like to very briefly discuss right now. So I'm just contrasting between two different types of agreements. One is a fixed fee agreement and another is a volumetric agreement. Again, these are the major types that we've encountered. Others I'm just not talking about right now. So the fixed fee agreement basically stated that if we fulfill conditions A, B, and C set by the municipality, which included minimum number of trips, minimum amount of households served, and a minimum waiting time, then the municipality would give us, say, $10,000 fixed. It was not based on the number of trips. The other one was a volumetric treatment system, in which the municipality said to us that you can do as many trips as you want. We take a certain amount of money from the revenue that generate, and the rest you can keep with you. So these two contracting structures are the ones I'd like to discuss majorly, and within these you can easily see that you can have so many different outcomes. For example, in the volumetric system, you probably do not have any incentive to reach households which are poor, which are located far from your FSM, the FSTP, and also are very difficult to reach. But in a fixed fee system wherein you're mandated to reach each and every household, you probably have a higher incentive to reach these kinds of households. There's a higher payment guarantee in the fixed fee system, but a very low payment guarantee in the volumetric system where you're left to your own account. So this is just to highlight how different contractual agreements within different cities can lead to very different FSM outcomes. And I think these are the key points of the contract need to be kept in mind and need to be tailored according to the outcomes you want. Do you want to reach out to everyone? Then you have a different type of contract. Do you want to reach out to a group of people, not everyone? Then you maybe tailor your contract to slightly to a different type. And that's how really you need to balance private profit sustainability on one hand and the access and quality of services on the other hand. Can you move ahead? Again, regarding contracts, once you really start thinking about individual contracts, which again to me are the essence around which your operations are built. And if really a contract is structured well and you have good relationship with the municipalities, then you can really look forward to delivering good services, accessible services, and affordable services. Again, not talking about regulation financing mechanism, but I think those are things which build onto the contractual agreement. If there's a bad contract, I don't think good enabling regulatory mechanism can really help you. So again, leaving everyone with some larger level questions regarding contract. Do you go for a single city contract, or do you go for a cluster of towns? Do you do integrated collection and transport and treatment, or do you only do collection and transport, or do you only do treatment? Is something to think about. What quality parameters are there? For a private sector operator, quality parameter basically means quality parameter basically indicates how much cost needs to be put in, and what are the compliance agreements, what is the role of the government, etc. So again, for the private sector operators, we really, I think, starting a conversation about how individual contracts are structured, I think can be a starting point to looking towards profitability and access to service. So I think that's it from me as an introduction, and I'll move ahead.
Thank you, Snehit. Thank you for this very nice introduction. We hand over directly to Peter from Kenya, PASA, sharing his experience, not only from Kenya, but as representative from PASA in general. Welcome, Peter.
Yeah, good afternoon from Nairobi. And as you are very aware, we, as PASA, have come a long way. We are not too much old here. We just came in recently, but I think we have covered ground and we are laying the infrastructure for us to enhance sanitation and look into the issues of pit emptiers, or based on the sanitation sustainability aspect of it. Next slide, please. Now, the formation of PASA was informed by an initiative. It was part of the RASO program that was supported by AFWA and BMG. And it was a peer-to-peer learning initiative designed to bring together sanitation operators. Now, some countries were mentor countries, some countries were mentee countries. Like, for example, Dhaka, Durban were identified as mentor to mentor Kampala, Yaoundé, Yamoussoukro, Bamako, Lusaka, through visits and knowledge sharing. It is also important to know that mentees ultimately became mentors, e.g. Uganda became mentee to Nairobi, hence the formation of the Kenyan Separate Emptiers Association. Now, the first meeting of the African Emptiers was held on the 19th International Water Congress in Bamako, Mali. Hello. In which culminated into the formation of the African Private Emptiers Union. Next screen, please. Now, the private Emptiers Union actually brought about the birth of the Pan-African Sanitation Actors. Now, the Pan-African Emptiers Union that gave birth of sanitation actors had a vision to provide simple and sustainable sanitation solutions throughout Africa. And so in February 2019 in Cape Town, with sponsorship from Coast and AFWA, PASA was actually launched. So you can see from 2019 to now, we are actually, let's say 2 years, but we have wasted one whole year, last year and part of this year because of COVID. So its mission was to create a platform for knowledge sharing among emptiers across African cities, and for better affordable sanitation service delivery. Next, please. Now, what were objectives then? The objectives then were basically capacity building, because we knew that across Africa, so many emptiers, pit emptiers, were operating in isolation, and each one of them wasn't organized in any way. So they wouldn't have a case in case they wanted to mobilize. So we needed to do capacity building for them. PASA was to be a voice for them to be heard. That is the emptiers, the pit emptiers, and basically a body for advocacy. And then it was supposed to be a link for resource mobilization for the pit emptiers across the African countries, and then for promotion of fecal sludge management and a survivable business in Africa. Next, please. Now, within the period of 1 year, we have had achievements actually. Over the 18, we have over 18 countries that have been mobilized and joined PASA. Emptiers have been linked to municipalities. I've had people talk about municipalities here in their countries through formation of local associations. So obviously now we are well structured, and we are an entity that is being recognized by the different governments. Now we have also had to engage in partnerships internationally, like we have engaged with Coast, BMG, AFWA, Speak Up Africa, and the rest. What is guiding our actions and our activities. Now we also have an executive that is headed by Iprazo and deputized by Ivanganga Waidera. We held our PASA Congress General Assembly in Cote d'Ivoire, Abidjan, on the 15th to 17th of October 2019, and attended several other meetings like the Science Technical Congress in Kampala, among others. We also have attended and exhibited at the AFA Congress in last February in Kampala, 2020. And we have been mainstreaming. Actually, our main achievement is mainstreaming African governments to recognize sanitation and water, hence water and sanitation. It can also help to inform that last year when we were at the AFA Congress, AFA itself was named AFA, Africa Water and Sanitation water and sanitation. So the word water and sanitation was actually added on water as part of our initiative. Next, please. Now, briefly, those are some of our member countries. As you can see, Uganda, Tanzania, Kenya, Zambia. Those are we have actually slightly above 18 countries, 20 countries. Cameroon, Senegal, Guinea. Yeah. And then basically the mobilization process is continuing. It's a continuous process. Next, please. Now, we also have future plans. Like, for example, we are planning on the African Day of emptying operators. Now, we want to be bringing together emptiers to share experiences on their financial state, their capacity, or their lack of. And then we are in the process. Another future plan is a Faecal Sludge treatment. Already, we have been collecting signatures across the different member countries of PASA, which we have to forward to Mccoy, basically so that now governments can be urged to encourage and to promote, so that now we can have the one Faecal Sludge facility across the African countries as part of the CWIS inclusive sanitation. It can also inform that recently AFWA actually appointed a new coordinator for our activities. And some countries already have been identified that are going to be part of the beneficiaries of this initiative, and that all of the treatment plans will be owned by the different associations. So meaning that it will bridge the gap between the distance for emptying and then as part of income generating activities for the associations. Next, please. Now, we had some long-term visions, like, for example, active participation involvement of pit emptiers along the entire sanitation value chain, increase in access of sustainable financing for PASA members. We engage in recruiting of new PASA members, develop a clear, comprehensive PASA strategies, action plans, and procedures. We want to develop leadership capacities and skills for PASA in the non-SWAT sector. We want to professionalize PASA membership through the provision of skills and knowledge development opportunities. We also are working on facilitating access to trucks and spare parts for PASA members, and to adapt institutional frameworks for the needs of the sanitation sector. Next, please. Next screen, please. Yes. So along the way, we have had our own challenges. For example, we have had an ability to attract substantive financing to take care of our visions, as you've seen. We are having problems with an enabling environment within the different countries. So that's why I said we are busy mainstreaming the different countries into sanitation, because most countries were more or less inclined to water and not sanitation. And then developing of a finance model that can work well for the NSS sector. That's what we also are having challenges with, and that's what we also are calling on partners to help us make possible. And then training and capacity development opportunities relevant to the industry, because that's also lacking. Training that is relevant to pit emptiers, because you cannot train everybody in everything. You have to identify their needs and give training that is tailored for them in the local situation. And then developing governance structures that are acceptable to members. That's also another challenge we are having. FSM strategies that are context appropriate and represent the experience of pit emptiers. That is a challenge we are having, and we shall be calling for partners and government to give us support. And then we want also to strengthen PASA Secretariat with clear institutional frameworks that they can also share within the different countries while they mainstream their different governments. Next, please. So now, coming to the current status of pit emptiers. Pit emptiers have so many challenges, actually. The first challenge that pit emptiers have is financial management. They don't have financial skills. They have not been trained. They have been operating a business that is hand to mouth. So that's a challenge. What is the driver? The driver is that we have knowledge gaps. They need skills. Now we have issues with leaking trucks. They need proper trucks. Most of them are using old trucks. That's a challenge, because now that means along their service, they will actually be involved in open defecation, literally. So we need to take care of those leaks, because also the impact on the environment. Now the distance to emptying sites is also a bigger challenge, because you would find while you want to charge a fee, you are looking at the distance to the pit emptying site. So that becomes a serious problem that we need to look into. And then they also have technology gaps, basically between mechanized, semi-mechanized, and manual. Specifically, the manual emptiers are a problem, because manual emptying is illegal because it is not safe. They don't have PPEs. They don't have it's like an illegal activity. And then there is no investment by government within the space of pit emptying. So it has been left to them to take care of. Now, what are some of the drivers of all these challenges? Like poor inaccessible roads, no manholes. We don't have enough manholes for the pit emptiers. The business is unregulated. It's informal. There is resource constraints, actually, and then emptying is considered the role of private sector. So government is not involved, infrastructure is not there. It is fragmented. So we need to take into consideration that as we find solutions for that. Next, please. So while we go on with the challenges, their service is considered unsafe. Like for the pit emptiers, like I've said before, they are not recognized and they are not structured. They are unregulated pricing, for example, because each one of them is doing their business in isolation. So if I don't get the business, you get it because you charge a small fee. And then we have multiple licensing regimes from NEMA, from the municipalities, from the cartels at the pit emptying sites. And so the manual emptier is not even recognized at all, because that's one of the drivers, the poor skills, lack of understanding of their financial health. They don't even know how to keep books. They don't even have books. They don't have records. They don't have anything. Then we have income gaps, for example, between the different pit emptiers. Next, please. Now, so then there are more challenges. There are several challenges, for example, and I cannot enumerate all of them. For example, there are issues of cultural and stigma that is associated to pit emptying. Yeah? There is insufficient demand activation. They don't market. They don't even know how to market. A guy puts his truck there and waits. So they need to be capacity built in terms of marketing skills, knowledge, and stuff like that. They have inability to meet demand, for example. Now, assuming that a pit emptier depends on a hired truck. If he comes and finds the hired truck is not there, it means he won't service the demand. Or he goes to the emptying sites and finds that he can only remove the liquid waste. The solid waste remains there. He spends there a lot of time. And then so that also brings about conflict between the pit emptier and the clients. We have those problems. And then,
this is one of the most important sessions, but still I have to invite you to wrap up because we're running slightly over time, and I'm glad we are recording the session. So Peter, please, not more than 2 minutes, please. Thank you.
Thank you. So next, please. Next, please. Just move next. Now, so just there. So I was saying, so the challenges impact scalability, those challenges of the FSM market across the various African cities. Therefore, the FSM market is hostile to the emptier, and COVID-19 hasn't helped the situation either. The business environment is shaped by government policy, economic, environmental, and financial services that are not friendly because they are only extractive. Social cultural norms and mental health impact so much on the pit emptier. Next, please. So the summary of challenges are inability and willingness of households and public institutions to afford a safe emptying, inability to service broad range of customers with varying needs, inefficient demand activists, marketing skills are lacking, inability to take jobs due to frequent breakdown of old vehicles and unavailability of say rental ones, and then lack of affordable loan products for pit emptiers. Next, please. So we are talking about high fuel maintenance costs and and age of the vehicle and poor infrastructure. Next, please. Now, as I wrap up, I want to give special thanks to some of our supporters like Kelly James, of course, Daniele, BMFG, Cost, Susanna, Laura Kola, Afwa, Professor Mengne, God rest him in peace, and then Boda. Next, please. So my wrap up is, as we celebrate 10 years of SM Heroes, let us build better and let us walk the talk. Next, please. Thank you very much. Stefan, I'm sorry, time constraints. I'm very, very sorry, Stefan.
No,
it's okay.
No reason to excuse. We are here to exchange. And
okay,
everyone,
fine.
Thank you for Peter's contribution. And you can sense, hopefully like myself, that this is the core of the experience from that Pan-African Emptiers Association. Donc, moi, je vais traduire maintenant aussi pour les francophones. On accuse un peu de délai, mais je crois que vous avez pu senser l'importance de tous ces messages de l'association panafricaine de l'assainissement, donc des acteurs sur ce terrain. I would like, with this, really to invite you now. Let us proceed to the next step, which is the breakout groups, where we can discuss in smaller groups. First of all, it's amazing. We have more than 100 participants. We had almost 120. So we will now split up in breakout groups. We will have excellent moderators who welcome you in those breakout groups. And we also invited for one, I will join together with Keith, a francophone breakout group. Donc, avec une participation de plus de 120 personnes, donc nous sommes vraiment ravis de la participation de votre côté. Nous allons nous séparer maintenant dans des groupes de travail. Il nous reste quelques 15 minutes. So, s'il vous plaît, joignez-nous dans notre groupe de travail. Il y a un groupe de travail francophone, si vous avez remarqué French dans votre commentaire. Et après, on va se réunir pour une discussion finale de panélistes avec un sommaire et les leçons de cette séance. So after the breakout groups, we will come together again. We will have a panel discussion, and your comments and findings from the breakout groups will come back to our panel discussion. And after the conclusion of the panel discussion, our panelists will discuss. We will have a utility representative from Tanzania. We will have a Pan-African Association, like those who have been speaking now, and also Sneed from India, so African Asian experience. And then we will have a wrap up. So let's now proceed to the breaking out to the panel groups. Is there any additional information technically which is missing? Otherwise, you will see the breakout groups now. And please join us. So we are early.
Yeah, you guys are early. Just when you start with the next session, you can just announce with the what I've been doing on the chat that and there's like a registration process going on. Everyone's putting in their name, so if somebody has missed out, they can still do it now. Once they come back. Yeah.
As a follow-up process, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Donc, notre groupe francophone est déjà présent. Email. N'hésitez pas de laisser votre email dans le chat, comme ça nous pouvons rester en contact au-delà de cette session. All right.
Did anyone press stop recording?
No,
I did not.
Oh,
And it still shows recording blinking.
yeah, I just started. Yeah, again.
All right.
Yep.
So, are we back all together? Did you already call everybody back from their breakout groups?
I just ended the session. There's no way I can. I broadcast. Please wrap up the sessions.
Okay, so we have 14 participants who are back early, which is nice. A first feedback from our breakout group. It was a very cozy one. We were just 6 participants. So, je suis en train de rendre compte de notre petit groupe de travail qui a été composé de juste 6 participants. But it was absolutely worthwhile. C'était vraiment, ça valait la peine quand même d'avoir un petit groupe de travail. Et merci Sandrine, merci Mamadou. All right, now welcome back everyone from the breakout groups. We are 22 participants and now all the rest is coming back. The plenary is filling up very quickly. Welcome back everyone and thank you for benefiting and chatting to your peers in the breakout groups. So I would like to welcome now and proceed to the next step, which is the panel discussion. So, soyez les bienvenus de retour à notre plénière. Et on va commencer maintenant avec notre discussion en plénière. I would like to briefly introduce to you my panel discussant. And these are from India, Snehid, working for Border, and he just presented at the opening our experience from different business models in India. Then, so welcome Snehid. And then I would like to ask, do we have Charles Mccoy in our group? Charles was announced to join us from the Dar es Salaam Water Utility, Dar es Salaam Water Authority, DAWASA. Is anyone?
Yes, he's there. I just heard him, yeah.
Okay, so please on your way and have a seat in our panel discussion. Charles Mccoy from Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, Eastern Africa, and working for the DAWASA, Dar es Salaam Water and Sanitation Authority. And then we have from the very interesting organization, the Professional Association, the Pan-African emptiers Association. We have Sandrine Nanga from Cameroon, and we have Mamadou Diour from Dakar, Sénégal. Donc, une petite introduction, et vous allez voir, je vais traduire pendant que nous sommes en train de discuter en français directement. Donc, nous avons avec nous Snehid de Borda, qui nous avait présenté les expériences de l'Inde. Nous avons Charles Mccoy de Dar es Salaam, des autorités de l'approvisionnement en eau et assainissement de la ville de Dar es Salaam. Et nous avons aussi, bien sûr, Sandrine Nanga de l'APA, basée à Yaoundé, au Cameroun. Et puis, Mamadou Diour de l'APA aussi, qui nous joint de Dakar, le Sénégal. Donc, de votre discussion dans les groupes par rapport à ce que vous aviez présenté. J'aimerais bien commencer avec Snehit, de lui poser la première question de ses impressions du groupe de travail. Snehit, you are my first interview partner, and we did some great experiences. I visited one of your plants in the northern zone of India, and you just presented your experience from different business models. Now, in your discussion group, what additional points did you get from your breakout group?
So for enabling the private sector, we got points regarding how they need to have access to finance. Finance, not just the regular kind, but blended finance, which looks at social impact as well. We also talked about how there's a need to balance again both private profit and access, and there needs to be a careful balance between both of them, which is somehow when we started building up these operation models, these were I'd say opposing requirements for us. So how to get them both on the same plate. Constanza talked about last mile identification, how to get access to the poor. And she mentioned very clearly about how there needs to be a very clear identification of people who cannot pay for these services, either in the form of spatial differentiation or in the form of tokens. So there's need to be a clear identification. Differential rates need to be set up.
Snehit, thank you very much. Well, I think, you know, for everyone in this chat, we will compile all the contributions from the breakout groups.
Sure.
Maybe my question to you, Snehit, would be what struck you the most? In what touched most your priorities? Because I feel what I learned from your presentation is that, for example, a fee structure which is focusing on fixed fees per volume is not as advantageous as a fixed fee, because volumetric measurement doesn't account for profitability. But you may have come across another point in your discussion. Otherwise, you can also repeat that one. Donc, je viens de demander à Snehit la question la plus pertinente qu'il a touchée dans son groupe de travail. À tout le monde, on va partager le contenu des groupes de travail après cette session. Mais pour le moment, vraiment, est-ce que la question de fixer les prix par volume des camions, ce qui n'a pas été avantageux, il avait partagé dans sa présentation, est-ce que c'est toujours le point le plus important, ou bien qu'est-ce qui est son point qu'il a touché? Snehit, thank you for waiting for my translation, maybe giving you a breath for thinking about my question. So please go ahead.
So,
any thoughts?
So firstly, I'd just like to add to what you said. You mentioned about how a volumetric contract might not be as beneficial as compared to a fixed fee contract, but I think there are certain situations where a volumetric contract might generate better returns as compared to a fixed fee contract. So,
please go ahead.
So whenever there's the demand volatility is low, or I'm guaranteed of a very high demand, I would prefer to go for a volumetric contract, because then there's no upside to what I can earn. It also, and there's a larger number of people that can be served through the service. So again, it's I'd say a situation to situation based analysis of what contract structure would be better. But generally, our feeling is that a fixed fee contract, especially when the willingness to pay of the people you want to serve is low, fixed fee contract somehow fits your requirements better. So just like what you said. Okay, so one point again that came out, and this came from Costanza. I think she works at SNV. I'll get in touch with her later. So what they've been doing is, again, to serve the people who cannot afford to pay for services, is very clear identification so of low income, middle income, and high income groups, and we've been doing that in our practice by spatial differentiation. So people living in a certain ward get to have a service which is priced at a certain level. She also mentioned about different, Constanza, please correct me if I'm wrong. She also mentioned very clearly about differential volume rates for different income groups which have been identified, and how incentives through KPIs were built into an operator's operational model. So certain number of trips need to be done for a certain income group, without which you're not fulfilling your contractual obligations. So I think that's a good step to build up and can be built into contracts.
Ok, Snehi, thank you very much. Donc, dans ton groupe, pour la traduction, il paraît que mon opinion initiale, que les contrats volumétriques par rapport à des contrats qui assurent des frais fixés ne sont pas avantageux dans tous les cas. Il s'agit de vraiment regarder de la situation spécifique d'une ville à l'autre, par rapport à la densité, à d'autres paramètres, quelle est la nature du contrat qui maintenant va permettre une profitabilité que nous tous sommes en train d'essayer d'achever. Un autre échange qui a eu lieu dans leur groupe de travail, c'était vraiment comment assurer qu'il n'y a personne laissé derrière, qu'on touche tous les quartiers d'une ville. Donc, il y a des réflexions qui ont été échangées sur une différenciation spatiale ou bien aussi selon les groupes de revenus. Et dans notre groupe, Mamadou, on vient de discuter de cet aspect, comment assurer maintenant avec des tarifs que même les plus démunis peuvent se permettre un vidange de leur fosse. Donc, je vais rapidement traduire et puis c'est à toi la parole, Mamadou. Et tu veux bien, s'il y a un autre point que tu aimerais partager avec le groupe entier, tu utilises l'occasion d'avoir la parole. So I will forward the question from and the point from your working group, Snehid, that identifying those who cannot afford the service by spatial differentiation, or even according to income groups. We discussed that point in our French-speaking group as well. And I will give the microphone to Mamadou, who has some experience regarding that point to share from Dakar, Sénégal. Voilà, Mamadou.
Merci beaucoup. Merci à tous qui nous suivent. Nous sommes vraiment très contents aujourd'hui d'être là et de parler de l'assainissement autonome et de ses problèmes. Et je crois que l'assainissement autonome aujourd'hui concerne la majeure partie des Africains. Et dans nos pays, quand même, il faut remarquer qu'il y a ceux qui vivent dans la périphérie ou bien ceux qui sont dans des zones inaccessibles ou bien dans des zones où il y a la pauvreté. Ces gens-là n'ont pas accès à la vidange mécanique. Et aujourd'hui, je crois qu'il y a beaucoup de réflexions qui sont en train d'être faites pour essayer de résoudre ce problème-là. Au Sénégal, on a eu la chance d'avoir, sous financement de la Fondation Bill et Melinda Gates, le programme de structuration du marché de bout de vidange, qui a réfléchi sur toutes ces questions et au niveau de tous les maillons de cette chaîne de valeur. Et aujourd'hui, l'idée, c'était de faire baisser le coût de la vidange chez les ménages, mais aussi de permettre à nous, nos entreprises de vidange, de profiter ou bien de rentabiliser vraiment leur activité. Et donc, dans les différents programmes initiés, ils ont eu quand même à permettre aux vidangeurs d'avoir accès au crédit pour pouvoir renouveler leurs camions de parc vétustes de camions. Ça a permis aussi de créer ce qu'on appelle le call center, qui a permis de mettre en concurrence les vidangeurs pour permettre aux clients de choisir le client le moins cher. On a fait un programme aussi de subvention de la vidange qui a permis aujourd'hui de faire baisser de la vidange de 25 000 à 15 000 francs. L'autre partie était gérée par la subvention. Donc, on a eu aussi à déléguer surtout les stations de traitement de bout de vidange qui ont permis aujourd'hui, au lieu aux opérateurs de vidange de travailler beaucoup plus de temps, que ce soit au niveau pendant les week-ends ou bien même les jours ordinaires, on a pu prolonger les jours, ça a permis d'atteindre beaucoup plus de clients. Aujourd'hui,
merci beaucoup. Je vais me permettre d'intervenir un peu pour assurer la traduction, Mamadou. For everyone, please check there's a live transcript, and our colleague Keith is ensuring that the words from Mamadou are to be caught down in the live transcript. But in principle, what Mamadou is sharing that, yes, the Association for On-Site Wastewater and Fecal Sludge Management, not wastewater, wrong word, fecal sludge management from pits and septic tanks is really dominant for all the majority of African cities. So with the support of previous program, like restructuring the fecal sludge management market in Senegal, for example, they have been ensuring and making very good experience with access to funding for renewing the park of or the number of sludge emptying trucks. But, and that is linking and coming back to the point in the other discussion group with Snehit, the kind of measures in order to target the vulnerable groups and marginalized were twofold, what I caught just from Mamadou. Number one is they have started to create a competition market for through online calls, those who need emptying and those who offer. And they are becoming better because now they have even developed an app called My Vidange, a combination of French and English, My Emptying. Now, the other point is that the emptying generally is around 25,000 francs CFA, it's the regional currency. And for everyone to afford that, they have come up after some practical work with a small contribution from the government. Say the house owner still needs to pay from the 25,000, 15,000, and 10,000 comes then as a contribution. Final point, that they have started making good experience with providing the mandate for operation of treatment plants to those operators who are also emptying. Bon, avec ça, j'ai essayé de transmettre l'expérience, Mamadou. Je vais revenir pour une dernière point. I would like to call upon our guest from Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. Charles, are you with us? Can you hear us? And if yes, we don't see your picture, please unmute your microphone.
Muted.
Okay, Charles, karibu sana. Welcome
Thank
to
you.
This large audience of still almost 100 participants from the world. Now, thank you for joining. What are the elements regarding the collaboration enabling the private sector in becoming part of the solution for providing service for all? What is, from a utility perspective, which you are representing in Dar es Salaam, your contribution, your experience, which you would like to share? What are the things you didn't hear, or what is the key part you would like to share with us? Charles, karibu.
Thank you, Stefan. Thank you. Greetings from Dar es Salaam again. And as you introduced me, I'm working with the utility, and I would like to share a little bit what we have experienced and what we are planning to improve the private sector involvement in the business. But to start with, I think like many similar African cities, we have similar problems that almost 90% of the population is served through on-site sanitation. So you can see, as what Andreas said earlier, that we have a big burden of fecal sludge stored in domestic storage facilities. Now, that is the experience of Dar es Salaam. In our perspective, we see that key issues that are hindering active participation of the private sector is the distance from the source or from the storage points to the treatment facilities. That has contributed a lot in escalating costs and actually renders some of the marginalized and low-income earners unable to pay for the emptying costs. This leads to illegal emptying, and in Dar es Salaam, as we speak, more than only 54 to 58% of the fecal sludge that's being produced reaches the destination. You can see we lose a lot through illegal emptying and so forth. So, in those cases,
Charles,
yes.
and I need to ask for the microphone again. So officially, everyone, our time of 90 minutes is over. We may step a little bit beyond because I would like to benefit from this marvelous panel, and we want to come up with some closing remarks. So I'm asking 5 to 10 minutes more of your time so that we can do a proper closure. But so far it has been a fantastic experience. For those who need to leave us, please stay in touch. Don't forget to leave your email address. And with this, thank you very much. The microphone is back to you, Charles. The first point was the distance, and that was on the title of that session, the logistics. Any other points, Charles, you would like to convey as a representative of a utility from your experience?
Thank you. So the solution on that, Stephen, we opt for decentralization to try and reduce the distance, hence costs, and then improve quality of service. But the other thing is the quality of sludge that is being produced. And of course, the quality of sludge in terms of there is a lot of solid waste in the sludge that is being produced. It also hinders the business of the private emptiers and operators. But also we should look at the quality of the private emptiers themselves, because I understand in Dar es Salaam, for instance, about 90% of the emptiers do not have sludge pumps. They do have water pumps. Now, if you have water pumps, the quality the quality of service will be low. You will be not helping us to remove sludge from. So that's the other issue. And the third issue on the sludge, on the solid waste in fecal sludge, I think that this is an issue of enforcement.
Yes.
We have to enforce, try to put carrot and stick to ensure that we have quality sludge and improve service, improve frequency, and maybe make the business a little bit more profitable.
Great points, Charles, and I'm glad you also touched upon the solid waste being a very relevant issue for our fecal sludge management. If there's no solid waste collection, solid waste will end up in our pit or in our septic tank. And there were a number of relevant points to that. I would like to come up with a last question to our to Sandrine, and this is regarding her experience, how the private service providers from the Cameroon, West African experience can perform better. So Sandrine, la parole à toi pour nous confier un peu à la fin de cette discussion de ton point de vue sur comment on peut améliorer les services, et je semble avoir entendu des réflexions sur le chevauchement, la régulation, chevauchement des différentes structures qui gèrent maintenant le domaine de l'assainissement. Bienvenue et la parole à toi, Sandrine. Merci. S'il te plaît. Est-ce que tu nous entends?
Oui. Oui, je vous entends. Merci, Stéphane, de me passer la parole. En dehors de ce que vous venez de citer plus haut, je dirais qu'il faut aussi essayer au niveau du Cameroun, parce que au Cameroun, encore le secteur de l'assainissement connaît beaucoup de difficultés parce que les assainisseurs ne sont pas assez pris en compte. Donc, il est nécessaire d'élaborer des partenariats public-privé entre le secteur privé et les municipalités pour permettre de développer le service d'assainissement dans toutes les villes camerounaises. En outre aussi, on souhaiterait aussi que les capacités que les entrepreneurs du service privé soient renforcés et qu'ils soient accompagnés pour qu'ils puissent avoir des financements, pour qu'ils puissent avoir des structures qui fonctionnent et pouvoir accéder à des financements. parce que le financement reste l'un des principaux moyens, problèmes que le vidangeur connaît. Cela est dû notamment à la qualité du matériel qu'on acquiert, parce que les banques ne sont pas ouvertes à nous donner des prêts pour des camions de seconde main. Et maintenant, acquérir un camion neuf, ce n'est pas la chose la plus aisée pour nous. Donc, il serait mieux de voir comment aussi on pourrait appuyer le secteur privé pour l'acquisition d'outils de travail performants qui puissent leur permettre de satisfaire la demande et de satisfaire le maximum de personnes. Aussi, il faudrait aussi vraiment ce problème de stations de traitement. Au Cameroun, on en compte 2, dont une qui a été construite au niveau de 2 qui sont fonctionnelles à peu près, parce que la deuxième sera fonctionnelle effectivement à partir du mois de décembre, mais pour le moment, la capitale du Cameroun n'a pas de station. Les dépotages se font à l'air libre. Et c'est une situation qui est désagréable et qui nuit grandement à la santé des populations et qui ne favorise pas l'image du Cameroun. Donc, nous souhaitons que ces problèmes-là soient pris en compte, qu'on puisse mettre sur pied des mécanismes qui permettent de créer ces stations-là, parce que l'assainissement constitue à peu près 90% l'assainissement autonome, autant pour moi, 90% du service d'assainissement fourni par nos villes. Donc, avec ce taux assez élevé, il est important qu'on réfléchisse à la valorisation de ces bouts pour que ces bouts deviennent, comme l'a pas le dit, des matières premières et puissent créer devenir des sources de revenus supplémentaires pour les assainisseurs, pour les vidangeurs.
Merci beaucoup, Sandrine. Vraiment, ce sont été des points supplémentaires, and I will quickly try to summarize regarding the points which we have now been discussing in the breakout groups, in the final panel discussion, and during the introduction. So what we saw, to start with the last points from Sandrine, there's still not enough possibilities for private operators to get access to loans to renew their equipment because their business is not yet recognized as a viable business. So around the facilitation of businesses to evolve, there's still a lot left to do. And I think that's an important message also from this community of Fecal Sludge Management Alliance. I will summarize 4 more points from this group and from this panel discussion. We heard that there is still not enough political will to seriously engage with private sector players who are serving the poor, so that the service can be followed up, that there's accountability and so on. Now, initially, the donor community's mode of delivering programs like governmental or multilateral don't reflect the needs and the potential of the private sector. And we heard some examples from West Africa, Senegal specifically, but also Niger, how this can be improved gradually. Now, we heard about the business model and fee structures still leaving the poorest behind. Regarding the accessibility, fees often don't provide and allow the service to be provided to the poorest. It's often not profitable. And finally, and that was also the contribution from Charles Mccoy, the distant location of sites is having a huge impact on the affordability and also the profitability of the service, which at the end will also link our debate to questions of land tenure and priorities in that. And with this, I would like to thank my panelists. Merci beaucoup à notre groupe des panélistes. Thank you for your contribution. This debate has only started, but I'm also grateful for all the our audience and the FSM Alliance to allow us to table this discussion. And with this, back to Andreas, you for our meeting host. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Stefan. Thank you very much for all your participation, for your contribution. I feel so bad that I have to wrap up. I mean, we have just started this discussion, and I hope we can continue, and I think we need to continue, and we will also see that we, with the FSM Alliance, can address this very important topic more in detail. And Tim will, a little bit after me, speak about the way forward very practically. But first, for wrapping up, we started with the question how we ensure that the sludge reach the treatment plant, how we can provide service for all. And we try to address these questions by listening to the practitioners by the emptying itself, emptier. But it's, yeah, the time is simple, too short, but I at least I was very happy that we could initiate, and I saw this audience of more than 100 people attended this session, which shows there is an relevance, there's an interest there. Stefan, you have very much already have the key points, major key points addressed, and we will take them forward, but we will capture all this input we gathered in the groups as well, in the chat rooms. There's a lot of frequency in the chat rooms and exchanging among the people. This is awesome. I would like to thank you very much, the organizing team, Tim, Archit in the background. They have spent a lot of hours, days organizing it, getting with everyone in touch. Amazing, a big clap to them. As well to all the people behind and around them, Cecilia, Keys, the people who joined voluntary for managing the group, even if we could not give them the voice to raise it here because of the time shortage. To the panelists, and it was such great honor to listen to your experience, and I wish that we can take it forward. Thank you very much to everyone, and Tim, please, you.
Yeah, thanks a lot also from my side for all your participation. I also feel bad that basically, as you say, but we knew when we start this discussion, this is a big topic, we will not find a solution today. And it's good that we exchange and that we really have this opportunity to come together from so many different angles of the world. Of course, again, usually it's, we have to say it over and over again, it's nice to meet in person, but I think this format gave us the possibility to really get so many people in from so many different areas. I think this is more than usually. I'm very thankful for your great contribution, especially from the panelists and the presenters. I'm also thankful for all your active participation of the participants. Andreas, of course, also to you. You are also part of the facilitating team. How do we continue from here? Please share your email addresses with us. If you don't want to share them publicly, send them to any of our people who are here in the facilitating groups. We want to share with you the outcomes. We want to also keep the discussion going. We'll find a platform over Susanna, over FSM Alliance. We will bring all the findings together, back it up with some more research, and bring this together into a paper and share it with you. And also this will most probably not be the final solution. This will just be the next small step, and let's hope that we'll get a little bit more coverage of FSM services step by step. Thanks to all of you. Merci, asante, ninashukuru, and thank you.